Hey there, everybody. We had a pretty good day, a pretty good set of days over the weekend. Both Saturday and Sunday, we were at market, and I had a second conversation on Sunday with a second person asking me why I would sell a particular plant. And while I'm not particularly someone who likes to yuck other people's yum or fight very hard to yum someone else's yuck, I do feel like this is worth responding to. So let's do it. In front of us is the purple flowering raspberry, Rubus odoratus. And on Sunday, a second individual asked me why I would sell this to someone. This latest person called it a swamp raspberry, which tracks. It does enjoy having a slightly wetter space. At least that's where it's thriving for us. But the first person was like, I hope you're not calling this fruit because it's not an improved type of fruit. And I will tell you, I do enjoy wild raspberries. I enjoy having a blend of raspberries when I do my baked goods. And I also just think that this is a beautiful plant. And it fills a space nicely. It produces tons of blooms. It covers a space. It has a gorgeous foliage. The stems in the winter will be whiter and have little bits of peel to them. You can see there's a little bit of bark. And so it has a little peely bark, which provides winter visual interest. And not for nothing, but all of our little native bees, please ignore the Japanese beetle, but all of the bumblebees and some of the smaller solitary bees, as well as honeybees, really seem to enjoy this. And while I do try to focus on plants that are functional for humans and provide sustenance, we're not just here for humans. That's, I feel, a short-sighted way to run a nursery and can impact how quickly you run into the problem of invasive species or exotic species that are detrimental to the wildlife. And so, yes, I will absolutely bring you cultivar raspberries to market, but I think it's also important to focus on the ecosystem service plants and the pieces of the machinery that makes pollination, soil biological processes, and all sorts of wildlife-informed physiology, wildlife-informed mechanisms. I think it's important to empower those in our landscapes so that we can focus on the things that we as humans can do to keep improving the way that our ecology in our space functions. I don't think there's anything wrong about having a focus on plants that are going to sustain you so that you can keep doing the work to improve your ecology and improve your immediate ecosystem. But I do think that there needs to be an understanding that all of these things are interconnected. And if we're not taking care of our pollinators, we're not going to have fruit. And so if some percentage of your plants are for the animals or are providing some sort of forage for a functional species in your landscape, I think that that is a worthwhile goal, and I think that any gardener should be considering that in what they are doing and what their garden plans are. Sure, you can have your raspberry patch or a blackberry patch. Goodness knows, I have a few of those around here. We're coming up on one right now. But doing solely human-focused plants is not the sort of nursery that I feel like building. I am much more interested in running and building a nursery where someone can get not only the plants that will feed them, but the plants that will feed their wildlife, to bring in more butterflies, more birds, more pollinating insects, more predatory insects. And each plant that we bring is functional in that regard. I think that there's not enough of a focus from a lot of nurseries on simply ecosystem service. And I think that's to all of our detriment. And so that's why I feel it's so important to bring things like a purple flowering raspberry or goldenrods. Sure, it's quote unquote a weedy species, but the amount of benefit that a gardener gets simply from having well-fed wasps that are preying on our garden pests, or providing nesting space for overwintering birds so that they can be here to capture that glut of early season caterpillars and worms and things. All of those tie into the fertility of our spaces. All of that ties into the food web in our spaces, and ignoring one of those facets in your garden is a sure way to have to focus your attention on more manual labor and biological control. And so I would much rather be playing in the garden than working in the garden. So I think that that's about all I'd like to say on the matter at the moment. But let me know down in the comments, what is a plant that you grow and love that surprises another gardener to hear that you're growing it intentionally, letting it thrive in your space? Maybe it's the dandelions. Maybe it's the goldenrods. Maybe it is some other small plant that at first glance doesn't seem like it's doing much for people, but in the grand scheme of things, every bit of biological diversity that we can shelter, that we can foster, is a service to humans. So that's what I think, and I would love to know what you think. So till next time, thanks for watching. Happy planting.